Hello, everybody. Hello. Go ahead and I know we got quite a bit of people here today for this webinar. It's going to be amazing. Go ahead and leave a comment where you're from. And just so that we know the comment system is working, if you're joining us from social media, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, I think LinkedIn is having some issues maybe, but we can see all of those chats in real time. So feel free to comment in and let us know that you're here. Tell us where you're from. And then I'll share my screen and get started with the actual presentation here in a moment. Okay, I just got word LinkedIn is working. So if you're joining from LinkedIn. Hello, Adam. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Steve, Matt, Luke, Jay, Julio. Hello, everybody. If I skip some names, I'm sorry. They all just flooded in. Randall, Dallas, Texas. Nice. Paul, Amy. Amy, nice to see you. Glad you're here. All right. I know we had over 100 registered, so we'll probably get a lot of people joining in a little bit late. And then I know a lot of people as well are going to want to watch the recording. This is going to be a conversation. Okay. So at any time through it, I'm going to leave a little note up that you can comment at any point and ask questions. We have two other team members in the admin side for the webinar to help answer questions as I go through it if I don't see it, because I know there's going to be a good amount of people here, but we should be able to get through every question. If not, well, at the end, I'll save a bunch of time so that way we have some questions at the end too. For the system for the broadcasting and monitoring comments, it's StreamYard. So you can go to StreamYard.com, and that's the system that we're using. All right, is everybody good? Everybody's working? Eric, you have no sound. Eric, team, can you notify me? You can hear me okay? It's not staticky or anything. You're hearing me through the microphone, correct? Austin says everything is clear on his end. Jenna, can you hear as well? Jenna can hear as well, the team on my end. Can anybody else not hear me as an attendee? Ashlyn says she has audio. Eric, I might check your settings because we got, yeah, everybody is loud and clear. Awesome. All right, everybody's good to go. Eric, it's going to be recorded, so you can go back to it at any time. But hopefully you get your settings good. Hey, Billy, thanks for being here. Nice to see you in the chat. Eric, just a suggestion my team had, which you guys can reply to Eric if you need, Jenna or Austin. You can switch to YouTube or Facebook if that's easier for you. So if you guys are having issues in stream here, it's going to be on social media as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's remove this, put that there, and then we're going to add this. Awesome. And I'm going to put my face, I think here. Should be a good spot. Okay, so we're going to cover basically everything when it comes to home inspection marketing. We're going to cover everything, okay? I'm going to try and get as detailed as possible. This is like a free, unlimited webinar. I'm going to tell you everything, okay? So this is everything that we're doing as a company and what I would tell any particular company as well as we're going to get into marketing. Just so you know a little bit of background about myself, I used to be a home inspector. I actually lost my license because I didn't renew it last July. I was licensed in Florida. I was one of the youngest licensed inspectors in the state of Florida. I started doing inspections when I was 18 for my parents' company. So I did that for audio. Isn't that good? Oh, maybe I'm sorry, guys. Let's wait till it all comes back. Okay. It sounds like it's better now. So going back to the little background, I did inspections for about 2 years, and then I worked as a marketing and sales manager for another home inspection company in the state of Florida for 2 years. So I've had quite a bit of experience doing inspections, actually working in the office as a in a home inspection company. And then I also had tons of experience doing actual marketing and sales and working as a marketing and sales manager for another home inspection company in the state of Florida. After about 2 years of working that other job, Wolfpack was pretty much created and I went into it full time. Now we work with hundreds of different companies, hundreds of different home inspectors and home inspection companies, as well as other industries. So you could think like roofers, even wedding venues, tons of different unique industries. Yeah, maybe Steve, I did have my hand on the mic or when it was sharing my screen. Thanks, Austin, for chatting. Okay, so today we're discussing basically everything I would do if I was running a home inspection company, what I do for marketing, and all my different little tips and tricks. Okay, so to get started with the agenda, first we're going to cover your market and understanding your market and how that plays into your marketing. Then we're going to talk about branding and positioning, how you should focus on your branding and positioning. I know we're a digital marketing agency, but having the understanding of your individual market and having an understanding as well as like your branding and individual positioning is going to be super important for setting up for digital marketing strategies, which is number 3 here. Then we're going to get into some local SEO, everything you need to do for showing up online locally. We're going to talk about networking, and then I'm going to move my face here to the other side. We're going to talk about experience and customer experience and customer retention, so agent retention, the different technology that you might want to utilize, and then ultimately at the end, how do you measure performance of this? So let's get started with first understanding your market. With understanding your market, it's important to identify your target audience and analyze your competitors. Now, I know everybody's going to go and say, like, I know who my target audience is. I want to target real estate agents and home buyers, right? But being a little bit more clear about specifically who you are, what your company stands for, is going to help kind of give you some insights into the type of agents you're looking for, or the type of consumer or home buyer or even home seller you're looking at. So 3 different pieces when it comes to your target audience for a home inspection company. First is the home buyer. Who are these home buyers you're looking to target? Are they luxury buyers or economical buyers? Where would they find their home inspector? So in a particular example, if somebody is a luxury home buyer, start asking questions about where they might be and where they might look for an actual home inspector. What are the traits of a home inspection company that they would specifically be looking for versus somebody who is a value-based consumer, somebody that wants value rather than the whole customer experience, rather than not necessarily a more thorough home inspection, but the experience that goes along with the home inspection itself. Same thing with real estate agents. So moving to the second piece with real estate agents, when targeting real estate agents, who are the ones you're actually looking to target? Are they seasoned high producers or are they low volume and new agents? I will tell you, if you are abundantly clear about who you are, who you serve, and you know who you're specifically targeting, you're going to appear to those particular agents and those particular home buyers much better rather than saying, hey, we kind of do everything. There's companies that we've worked with and talked with that understands they are the value based, the economical based, right? They understand that their fees aren't the most expensive and they're okay with that. And they're okay with working with real estate agents that maybe do only a couple inspections, maybe even one entire year. And they target the real estate agents as well as consumers in that fashion. The same way, we have tons of inspection companies that target the luxury market or the top producers. There's tons of inspection companies that do that and also try to accept the bottom. Just try to understand how your competition lines out in your particular area and really define a little bit more about your target audience. The last piece is service area. So with this, we're defining your service area, and larger metros have pros of higher populations. Rural areas would be lower volume and more personal. So understanding the differences between your urban areas versus the rural areas and how that's actually going to impact your marketing is super important. Somebody that's in a rural area is going to have lower volume when it comes to Google Ads. Somebody that's in a dense market, such as South Florida, Central Florida, or such as any of the big cities in Texas, for example, there's going to be tons of people searching online for home inspection companies. Once you understand the target audience, also look at your competitors. So, three things when it comes to looking at your competitors. First, look at the strategic position. This position, and I'm giving a thumbs up apparently to that. I can also do this, I think, if it'll work. Hey, confetti. So, when it comes to strategic position, what does their website look like? What about their social medias? Have you noticed them in any real estate offices? Are they doing any paid advertising? Google, Bing, Facebook. Really analyze how are they positioning themselves as a home inspection company. And for yourself, look at that on how you are positioning yourself. Do they have a ton of Google reviews, for example? So moving on to advertising and marketing, do they have a ton of Google reviews? Are they really into Yelp? Are they doing Yelp advertising? Are they positioned as low cost or high value? So looking at the differences between that can help you position your company if you're brand new or really considering where you stand and where you want to be within the market. Ultimately, in any market, there's going to be people looking for luxury, and there's going to be people looking for the economical version. Just understand though that if everybody's going after luxury, there's a really great opportunity for the economical. And then finally, just looking at right or wrong. What are they doing that is really working for them? And what are they not doing or doing completely wrong that you could take advantage of? For example, maybe they do a terrible job with visiting real estate offices. Well, if you're the only one doing that and taking advantage of it, then obviously you're going to shine in those real estate agents' eyes. Alternatively, if they're doing their websites really poorly, then maybe you should capitalize that and be the one in your market that has the awesome website and captures those consumers who are going to look at the website. I know this may sound like really basic at the beginning. I know you guys want some like super secret stuff, which I'm going to get into, but it's important to define first the actual target audience, analyze your competitors, and be able to say what your strategic position is as a company. Because if you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to market yourself appropriately. Again, this is a conversation too. So if you have a question anytime, feel free to chat in. For those that are just now joining, welcome. We're just getting into it, but you can watch the recording later on because it is going to be recorded. All right. Branding and positioning. After this, we talk about this one, we'll get into the actual digital marketing strategies. So first, logo, colors, and fonts. Evaluate existing logo, color scheme, and design elements. Do you actually have a brand? I have talked to a ton of actual home inspection companies almost every single week, almost every single day, where they may not have a logo. They don't understand who their brand is. They don't have proper font families, such as like what actual fonts and text type they use. They don't have a color scheme. Using all of that is going to help the consumer and agent recognize who you are. I'm sorry, Amy, if it keeps on cutting out. Team, I'm going to remove LinkedIn so that way we don't have to worry about LinkedIn anymore. Is everything good, Austin and Jenna? Sound has been fine. Adam says, most companies I've seen don't have a premium looking website, but no one ever lists price. Do you recommend a call to see the average cost of an inspection in the area? Like a call to action to see the average cost? Absolutely. Absolutely. For example, if you go to Waypoint, which Austin's in the chat, if you go to waypointinspection.com, There is a whole blog article and page, I think, on home inspection costs in Florida. And so they're very transparent about the different pricing structures and how it works. I would definitely look into writing either an article or having a page about the breakdown of home inspection costs in your state or your particular city, because there's tons of consumers searching for that type of thing. And be transparent about who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. Is it important to make sure your brand or logo ties into a real estate theme, or is it more important to be different and recognizable? Brandon, I'm going to be honest. Like it, it doesn't have to tie into anything specific. You don't have to have a real estate theme. The only thing I would say is that it makes sense for your individual brand. Okay. So mission and core values. This is another piece. I know it sounds like, guys, just gibberish and like I'm just blowing smoke here, but understanding what your individual mission is as a home inspection company and your core values, where you want to go, what you want to do, is going to help clarify your individual brand and strategic position. So if you define what your mission statement is as a company, you're going to be able to convey that to your consumers and to your real estate agents and your referrals so they understand if they want to work with you or not. And ultimately, sync this all with your marketing. Analyze current marketing materials and online presence. So we're taking our logo, our colors, our fonts, our mission, our core values, our strategic position. We're using all of that information with our marketing efforts. Without it, we don't have an identity from when we market, and we sound like any other home inspection company. Building your brand and who you are as an individual company is going to help compound your marketing efforts, where you're not just going to do something and it's going to go by the wayside, but you can become rememberable and recognizable, as Brandon, you were talking about with your logo. All right, let's get into some digital marketing strategies. Austin, you wanted to answer that question. Did you want to reply? Because you can reply to him in chat. Or Austin, if you wanted to come up on stage, feel free to add yourself to the stage, unmute yourself, and
Hey, everybody. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in for a second real quick, Adam, going back to your question. Something we've done when we're looking to price shop competitors, if you don't have somebody that you feel comfortable just asking to do that for you, is we've actually gone to Upwork. So if you haven't heard of that before, it's just upwork.com. And that's where you can hire freelancers to do almost anything that you're looking for some assistance with. So I've gone to Upwork to hire freelancers that are skilled in competitor research or price shopping. It may be a little bit more costly. You may be paying, 20, 25. I've seen even some upwards of $50 an hour, depending on their skill level. But it is a limited time project, right? You're only going to have them call your top competitors, not necessarily every single inspection company in your area. But you can go ahead and put together a spreadsheet that breaks down what are the different services you're looking for them to price shop on. And then they record all that information and you can go back and analyze and see where you fall among your competitors. So that's been a hugely beneficial resource for us, is upwork.com, to find people that can do that for us. In terms of listing it on our website, we do list starting prices on our website for some services, but we don't list actual pricing breakdowns. And part of the reason for that, at least for us, and you can make the argument one way or the other, but we want to have the freedom of adjusting our price without everybody already knowing what the price used to be, right? And if we publish our full pricing list and now we want to increase by $10, somebody may have that old pricing list saved, or somebody may say, hey, I noticed you increased your price. Why'd you do that? Whereas if we say our inspections start at X amount, but then the rest is not published, you have full flexibility to adjust that. So I figured that was easier to say it than answer it over chat. So thanks, Aaron.
thanks for stealing my thunder, Austin. No, I'm kidding. I didn't, Adam. Apparently, I didn't read your question right, so I'm glad that Austin was able to jump in and answer your question. All right, so let's start talking about some digital marketing strategies, the really good stuff. And this is where you guys are going to have tons of questions, and I'm going to do my best to help answer them and be abundantly clear about every little thing, okay? So let's first talk about your website. And I'm going to move myself. Let's see, over here. Uh, let's do right here for now. And then I'll move myself to the other side. So first, modern website. Your website should be modern, mobile friendly, and fast. Ensure your website can easily be edited, updated, either that it is you're editing or updating it, or a marketing agency. So you need to make sure that you can at least edit your site effectively. If you can't, get somebody that can, whether it's a marketing agency or some guy that you're just hiring, your web guy, whoever it is. Your website needs to be modern, it needs to be fast, it needs to be mobile friendly. If it's not those things, you're kind of failing when it comes to digital marketing strategies, to be honest. It starts with a modern and mobile friendly website. It doesn't have to be the most amazing thing. And we're going to go into some example websites. It doesn't have to be the most amazing thing. It just has to be effective. It is your virtual office. So your website is your virtual office. It's a place where your consumers and agents can find everything about your individual business. Now let's talk about some example websites, but let me see, make sure my notes. So we'd recommend a WordPress professional web design. It doesn't need to be overly complicated, but it should be relevant to your branding, have clear call to actions and solid copy. You can use like a Wix or Squarespace. In general, those will do an effective job, but most times that I do see it, it's from home inspectors that do it themselves, and it doesn't look that great. It doesn't look that professional. It needs to look somewhat professional. So you can't get away with doing Wix or Squarespace and getting that professional, polished look. But it's not all the time that I've seen it that you guys can do it yourselves, unless you are into design and you're into web design a little bit. So let's talk about these example websites. So normanhomeinspection.com. I'm so sorry, normanhomeinspection.com. I found this as an example. I'm going to share this tab so you guys can see. So this is normanhomeinspection.com. It is a very much like a 2000s, early 2000s, 90s website. Hasn't been updated in forever. I would not recommend a website like this. I would recommend Norman. If just my advice, I'd recommend updating your website. So if your website looks something like this, or Norman, are you in here? Norman's not in here. I hope he's not. Looks like a blog. Yeah, it's not a blog. He's got all of his his pages here, and I mean it gets the job done, I guess, but you'll see the differences as we go through these different websites and kind of what I mean. This could work for Norman, and if Norman's good with it, then fine. That's fine. The other thing you can't see at the top, it shows that it's not secure. It doesn't have a security certificate. So you need to make sure it's secure with his security certificate. This is definitely not mobile friendly. This is definitely not modern. It does work, and it's relatively quick. So I'll give Norman that. All right, let's talk about a good one. And this one's insighthomes.org. So we're going to go to insighthomes.org. So this one is on my good level. This one is modern. This one I can tell is going to be mobile friendly. It's not overly great. It's not like it's fantastic. It's not like I would classify as like a beautiful web design or anything like that, but it's effective. You have really good call to actions, a really good menu bar. Could you change some things? Yeah, you could definitely change some things, make it a little bit better. I know this is a WordPress site, and I know you can manipulate this theme to make it look a little bit cleaner. So you could definitely change it up a little bit to make this site look a little bit better. But overall, this site's just fine. I wouldn't be upset. I mean, they do have a broken image here that they should fix. But this will get the job done. So if your site looks something like this will get the job done. Now, great. Let's talk about great. Roofingops.co. So the big thing with this one, between the one that we just saw, This one is a very simple website, but the thing that I want to point your attention to really is just looks design wise is going to look a little bit more cleaner. It is very good at honing in on where your eyes should actually be. And the call to actions and color scheme make it super easy to find where you actually need to contact this company. Now, again, it's a smaller website, so they didn't spend too much money on this. It's not like they spent like $5,000 on this website, but it's just very clear about who they are and where your eyes should be. And they can easily say, hey, click here to get a quote. Again, this I know is going to be super modern friendly. It's a WordPress website. So if your website looks something like this, you're doing great. This is a good job. It is a smaller website, and that's okay. You don't have to have a super large website, but at least it's very clean cut. Hopefully you could see the difference when we look at something like this, where it kind of looks a little bit overloaded. There's a lot of small text, a lot of different text and images going on. It's very hard to see like the different call to actions because of the different color schemes compared to what we're looking at here. Okay, let's look at the last one, which we're going to pull up. We're going to be biased a little bit here and pull up waypoint inspection. So here is the fantastic, great version one. And let me move my face to the other side so you can kind of see the nice USPs, unique selling points. Very clear, contrasting colors for their call to actions. They have some nice video overlaid. If I scroll down, again, it's super simple as far as where your eyes should look in the different call to actions. It's not too overloaded. It's going to be modern friendly. They have some nice reviews. I'm not going to be very specific as far as what you should have within your website because you can kind of look at it and understand what it does and does not have. But ultimately, you can see 100% the difference from here to a site like this to our better site, our good site that'll get the job done versus one that is a little bit more clean, a little bit more simple, easier to read, easier to see your call to actions versus something like Waypoint site, which has a ton of information, but all of it is designed very well. Any questions on web design? Do we have anyone to recommend to design a website? Yeah, Matt, it's us. I said no selling on this webinar, but it's us. I guess you can go to any local designer or anybody in your area. I know InterNachi does websites that are more cost effective. I think they're like $400 sites. They do a decent job from what I've seen. Spectora obviously has their packages. They do an okay job too. I don't have any like huge issues with their sites. The one thing that I would be on a look at with your website though is make sure if you're going to go with a designer that you actually own the site. So if you pay for the sites, you're not just like renting it monthly, that you actually own the site once you pay the design fee. Otherwise, like what happens is you'll rent out the sites and then if you need to transfer it or you're done with them and want to cut ties, you can't. Steve, you said you did GoDaddy and you think you'd fall in the great category, but I'd be willing to hear some suggestions. Steve, you got to comment now your website. Let's get it apart live. I don't mean to pick on you, Steve, but I think it'd be a fun exercise. Not that you're selling, but how much does your company charge? Yeah. So not that I'm selling, but our company charges typically for a website, usually starting at like $1,200 to $1,500. Those are very simple sites, kind of like the roofing ops site you saw. For more involved sites, Waypoints is obviously super large. So this took a lot of time, but if you want something like, say, for example, like Waypoint, but a little bit smaller, you're probably looking at average cost like $2,250. So $2,250. Steve, we're pulling up Steve's site, guardianhomeinspections.org. Steve, is this your site? This your site, Steve? Free advertising. You're advertising to other home inspectors, Steve. This isn't working for you, man. All right, so Steve, this is your website. I would not say I'm going to be brutally honest. I would not say this is great. I'm going to say this is okay. Because if you look, this is the first thing that I see on your website. It's just a home. There's no links to different pages. There's no call to action in the top right. I should see a call to action up here. If I scroll down, it's still very far down. So I'd work on getting that menu and have a nice contrasting color button up here for your call to action. To make it even better, just so you guys can see like a huge difference, this is a company we're working with. It's a therapist in Atlanta. So this is one of their landing pages for Google Ads. So you can just see for like conversion wise, to get like the top tier conversion rate you're going to have a contrasting color up here with a call button typically. And then on the right-hand side of the main item, you're going to have your quote form or your form here. And then after that, you can have your unique selling points and everything else. But this is going to be your main thing when you're creating a website that converts, is you're going to have your logo, your main text, quote or consultation form, and then your main USP or call button at the top right with contrasting colors. So Steve, going back to your site, I would say down here, you start doing good, you start doing okay. You have a lot of great information, but the main thing that I would say is you're missing that header bar with the different services and with that main call to action. Okay. I would love to go through everybody's website that's commenting, but unfortunately we're strapped for time. So I'm going to continue with the presentation. If you want us to pick apart your website, you can submit a proposal on our website. It's not selling, I promise, but you can submit a proposal on our website. And then when we have time, we can do an audit of your site for free. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about the next step, search engine optimization. So your professional web design should include some basic SEO functions. And I have a bunch of different bullet points here. First one, a sitemap, and then submitting that sitemap to Google Search Console. So if you have a WordPress website, it makes it super easy. You can install a plugin called Yoast SEO, which I'm sure everybody has heard about. If you have a WordPress website, you can install this plugin for free. You can download it and then upload it to your website. This will create a sitemap for free. Okay. If you're curious what a sitemap is, what it looks like, if I scroll down to the bottom of this, they don't have a link here. Let me go to. There we go. This is what a sitemap looks like by Yoast. And this is Waypoint sitemap. So you need a sitemap like this for anybody that wants to go to this URL and check it out. So you can see, kind of explore it. That's the link. So you're going to take that link and actually submit it to Google Search Console. So you're going to go to Google Search Console, which looks like this. You're going to go here. You're going to create an account. You're going to get your domain verified, and you're going to submit your sitemap to Google Search Console. Okay. After that, Google Search Console is going to tell you everything you need to do. But that's your first step. After that, you can sign up with Google Analytics. And then Yoast SEO will walk you through the rest of these steps: meta tags, meta descriptions, SEO titles, optimized image names, and keywords on page. They make it super, super easy to do if you have a WordPress website. If you're on Wix or Squarespace, I'm sorry. Any questions on the search engine optimization stuff? I'm going to see if I can pull up a demo site for you guys as well, so I can show you what it would look like internally. No questions on the SEO? Just so that way, and also makes a great point, how long it takes to see results from SEO. It can take a long time. So do not think that you're going to do this and a month later you're going to start seeing results. It doesn't work that way. We'll talk about content writing and blogging and how that impacts your SEO rankings. But ultimately, when you do all these steps, you are going to do a lot more when it comes to keyword research to find what are people particularly searching for, and then using that to optimize your page. So let me go into an example. You're asking about meta tags, Steve, and all these are separate steps. Yes. So this is a back end of one of like our demo sites that we have. And if I open up one of the pages and I look at the home page and I edit this, this is the home page for this website, which is one of our demo sites. So what we'd want to do is optimize this around some centralized keyword. So if I go back, with Yoast SEO, it makes it super easy. If I don't have it enabled on this site. Give me 1 second. There we go. So Yoast SEO, general. So Yoast SEO will give you all of everything that you need for a first-time configuration. It'll give you that sitemap. If we go to settings, there's tons of different things that you could read about. But ultimately, let's talk about the different pieces within this. Edit a page. Okay, so we give it a key phrase, such as home inspectors.
Okay, I found this on the web. For giving a key phrase.
Home inspectors in Orlando. So now for meta tags and the different pages. So I talked about meta tags, meta descriptions, SEO titles, optimized image names, and keywords on page. So I have my focus key phrase, home inspectors Orlando. The first thing is my SEO title. I'm going to change to home inspectors Orlando, Florida. Now, if we look here, this is what the preview shows on Google or what it looks like on desktop. So now my SEO title is home inspectors Orlando, Florida. Steve, I'm sorry if I lost a bunch of you guys. I know I'm starting to get super technical. So again, all you're going to do for this is just download Yoast SEO if you have WordPress, and then you're going to do some of these steps. Yoast SEO is going to walk you through it, but I want to just talk about a few items. So for example, this is just one piece, your SEO title, what appears in search results. This is your meta description. And for this, I'd put in something like the best home inspectors in Orlando, Florida. Link for Yoast. Here's Yoast. I don't expect you guys to know and remember every single thing that I'm talking about. You guys are going to have to come back to this, but at least what you're going to be able to understand here is how we would do SEO. Okay. So then, yes, to, I think it was Adam, was it you that said it? Do keywords on page also help the entirety of the SEO, not necessarily in meta tags? Yes. So these are the meta tags that I'm talking about, the SEO title and the meta description. And then on the actual page itself, so if I go to this front end editor, then I'm going to start putting the keyword on the actual page. So here, putting the keyword on the page, and then I start spreading it throughout the different text. So maybe I put it here, maybe I put it here. I'm not going to put this every single place. I don't need to put it in every single box. I'm going to sprinkle it in what makes sense. That's it. Yeah, Steve, sorry. I don't expect you to. I went a little bit too deep. I kind of wanted to keep it simple just because it does get a little bit technical and I might lose a lot of people. But I did want to touch base a little bit more rather than just giving these bullet points, because this obviously isn't going to be super helpful to a lot of people. But if you understand, download Yoast. Make sure you have a sitemap. You upload it to Google Search. Yoast will walk you through how to make your sitemap through them. And then after that, you're just going to go, let's leave here. Once you have Yoast installed, it looks like this. You're just going to put in your focus key phrase, put in the SEO title, put it in the meta description. Your meta description is just like the text that appears in Google search results. So this is home inspectors in Orlando, Florida. And then you're just going to put it throughout the page. That's it. All right, I'm going to carry on because I feel like I might have lost some people there, and that's okay. Let's talk about social media marketing now. A ton of information here, but this is another piece of your digital marketing strategy. So first, positioning. You should be at least on Facebook and Instagram and post at least 3 times a week. You can honestly just do this yourself. So make sure on your phone you have Facebook and Instagram, you have those 2 apps. You can really take a look at and audit yourself and your local competitors. Ensure your settings are correct. Don't need to worry about too much with TikTok and Instagram. Ultimately, download Facebook and Instagram and start posting. You could do selfies while on the site. You can post defect photos, defect videos of you explaining the issue. That's going to go a long way. You could show how to complete a routine maintenance item, such as how to change an HVAC filter or clean a drain, how you should pour vinegar down the condensation line of the HVAC system. Those little things takes 10 seconds, and you could post on both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. You could shout out agents you work with and tag them. Move over. Talk about housing market related posts, about team members, office and community activities, product or service highlights, and then of course memes. If you want a good example, let me go to Instagram real quick. So you can look up Honor Services on Instagram. This will be a good example for you guys of what you could honestly do. Really, tons of different things, but even funny little memes. This is also a pest control company, which is why they're posting about that. You could talk about just inspected properties. It doesn't have to be super cool designs like this. It really doesn't. You could just post your selfies, and that's going to be 10 times more effective. With this too, as you can see, they have like a little video here, but with this too, you can go to competitors and look at who they're following. And this will give you insight as far as who they're following to see what agents they're particularly targeting. So when I was a marketing and sales manager for Waypoint, I would just go to competitors and see on those competitors who they're following and who's following them, and then start following all the real estate agents that are interacting with their profile. So you could just click this follow button. Yeah, honestly, Steve, just get your content out there and you'll start learning some of the things that I'm telling you guys. Because again, I don't expect you guys to remember every single little thing, but I do want to cover everything I possibly can on this webinar for you. Okay. Little bit of a continuation on social media marketing. Taking it to the next level, you can find, follow, and engage with agents in your local area. Just set 15 minutes. Oh, let me share. Just set 15 minutes on your calendar every week to do this. You could be searchable by using hashtags and location tags on your actual posts. You can track your KPIs, such as like how many people are now following you. You can utilize stories and reels on Instagram. And one of the things we like to say is you don't need your logo on every post. So you don't need to do like a specially designed post. Some resources you can look into to help. Canva is super helpful. Canva is super helpful. Adobe apps, any of the Adobe apps. You can look into Visme, CapCut, Capwing, as well as ChatGPT or AI. Steve, it's just you and I on this webinar. Austin's talking, but Steve, it's only you and I, man. Everybody else is so quiet. It's on in the background for them. If anybody else is alive and on this webinar and it's not an actual robot that Wolfpack has paid off, please let me know. I'd like to know that my team didn't just buy robots for attendees. Facebook user, I see me too. Bob Rains, you're alive. So far, so good. Regarding the resources, that's for creating content. Yes, that's to help you create content. Yes, Adam, definitely tagging those real estate agents. So for a couple different activities you could do every single week, every time you work with a new buyer's agent, find and follow them on social media. Start liking their stuff and commenting on their posts. Every time you have an inactive agent, so if you pull an inactive agent report from Spectora or ISN, you could do it once a week or once a month. You can find and follow those agents on social media as well and DM them. And just honestly, send them a direct message on social media and just say, hey, it's Aaron from Aaron's Home Inspection Services. We haven't worked together in a while. Just wanted to check in, see if you need anything. You basically troll your local agents on Facebook, Steve. Steve, you must be a menace. I'm here going through my competitor follows. Good, Jeffrey. Everybody look at each other's competitors and start following their real estate agents and start DMing them. Honestly, it works. It works. You follow. Create a business page, John. You want to create a business page, a business Facebook page. Instagram is going to be way better for finding new agents that your competitors are following. And then you could like all their posts. You don't have to do every single post. Just do like their top 3 and then comment on like 1 or 2 and then send them a DM, a direct message. So you could just go on Instagram, direct message an agent and say, hey, just to let you know, I'm so-and-so. Here's 3 unique things about us. Maybe we can link up sometime and chat. Okay. Let's talk about content marketing. So with content marketing, you're going to start with a blog post. The blog post should be centered around a keyword that people actually search for and that your website can rank for. An example, not what is a home inspection, but when should you replace a shingle roof? I can't tell you how many blog posts there are about what is a home inspection. In yours that you write, no matter how good it is, it's not going to rank. I hate to break it to you guys, but it's not going to do it. So instead, write about the items that you can actually be an expert on, such as when should you replace a shingle roof? What's a reverse polarity outlet? What are the issues with Federal Pacific electrical panels? What's a sewer scope inspection? Common findings from sewer scope inspections. Different items like that. To see what people are searching for, honestly, just go to Google and see like some of the frequently asked questions that pop up in there. You don't need some expensive SEO software to do it. You could fill it in with images too. So definitely images from on-site and stock photos if you have to. But if you have on-site photos, that works really well. And then share your blog posts. So post your blog posts on social media, the social media that you just created. email out your new blog posts to your email lists. So ISN or Spectora has a mass email system built in. And then use your blog post to create a short video on your phone that can be used for social media. So an example of this, right? You can write a blog post about, how to maintain your HVAC system. And then you can have a bunch of little short videos on maintenance items for your HVAC system, such as, how you pour vinegar down the condensation line. People don't know how to do that. How to replace the HVAC filter. People don't know how to do that. People also don't understand the difference between washable filters and the ones between like the more premium filters and how that can affect your system over time. So really just talking about those items. This content is going to be a super powerful way to kind of share and stay in touch with your consumer base as well as your real estate agents. It's a good way to kind of stay in touch with them rather than just constantly messaging them without any content or without any reason to. ChatGPT is a lifesaver. Just make sure you're not doing it for everything because people can know. What are my thoughts on LinkedIn? It works really well. Our team really likes LinkedIn. Jenna, can you comment on that actually? Like what you think about LinkedIn? Because I think you would probably know more than I do. For this webinar, we had over 120 people registered. And there's 38 of you. That means 80 people aren't here. I love you guys for being here, though. All my little ChatGPT bots that Austin bought to make me feel better. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Jenna, I'm assuming you're getting to Steve. Oh, there you go. There's Jenna. Okay, so we kind of touched a little bit about emailing. So this is going to have to do with email marketing. First, you need to choose a software. This is going to be your number one way to stay in contact with real estate agents and clients, honestly. So first, you need to choose a software. Off softwares that we like, MailChimp, Constant Contact. We're partners of ActiveCampaign and resell that software and build out ActiveCampaign systems that integrate with Spectora and ISN and some of the big players. I know. I was so excited for the 100th signing, but there's not 100 people here. 30% turnout is pretty good. Yeah, that's all right. I'm not complaining. I love you guys more for being here. So you can create a couple different or do a couple different things to build your email list once you have a software. I wouldn't recommend using Spectoras or ISNs as your true email marketing software because it has some limitations. So I'd choose one like MailChimp, Constant Contact, or we're partners with ActiveCampaign and we build the infrastructure to integrate with ISN or Spectora. So there's a ton of you could do with ActiveCampaign, but that's another one. Then you're going to use a couple strategies to build your email list, such as website pop-ups. So a pop-up on your website. You can auto-subscribe new agents and customers to your email list. And you can also add opt-in boxes to your contact forms on your website. The biggest thing with your newsletters is you need to actually provide value, okay? Steve, I know you're asking, like, don't people just ignore emails? No, they don't. If it actually provides value. Did you know Wolfpack has a high-value newsletter? This is not a sales pitch, but we have a newsletter, and you could check it out, and you could see what I mean by providing actual value. Like, we share some really cool insights, tips, and tricks, like how to actually build your email list. That's talked about in that newsletter that we send out. So things for this real estate agent group that you're emailing or customers, we're talking about the same content that you're building with your content marketing, with your blog posting. It's about things people actually will read, right? It's questions about like, hey, here's some really cool tips on how to actually clean your gutters so you're not breaking your back or injuring yourself when falling off a ladder. Link for newsletter. Austin, can you go to our CRM and under the forms, there's a thing for them to opt in. You could also just go to wolfpackadvising.com, scroll down 20% down the page, and then the website pop-up will happen. So if you guys want to check out the website pop-up for us, you could do that as well. Scott, you're on an inspection. This will be recorded, so you can come back to it later. And then within your newsletters, when you're providing actual value, so you could do like a value piece at the top, and then below that, you could do a little advertisement. So let me do this. I'm going to go to our CRM. I'll pull up one of our newsletters so you can kind of see an example of what I might mean. Let's go to this one. Okay, so this is one of our newsletters that we sent out last week. So you can see super cool information, high value stuff, cool video, high value, talking about how Google's new search generative experience will impact SEO, basically how AI is going to impact SEO. Really good, valuable stuff. You can click there to read the blog if you want to learn more, but this gives you like a brief description about it. And then after that, boom, advertisement. So in your newsletter, high value, boom, throw in an advertisement. And then more high value stuff. So this is the link to the webinar and some latest developments, resources about our company, and then a place for them to share the newsletter with their friends if they want to. Thank you, Austin, for sharing. If you do offer CE classes, this is the highest engaging pieces of content that can include in your emails. Absolutely. Glenn, are you asking me which company we work with for our email marketing software? If so, it's us. We use activecampaign.com. We're partners with them. It can be complicated to use their system, so we help build that out. Glad you're enjoying the content. Yeah, Glenn, we use ActiveCampaign, and it's a big part of our business to where we actually work with home inspection companies, pest control companies and stuff, and we integrate it with your scheduling software. That way it works pretty seamless, and then we provide training and support and guidance, advising around utilizing the software. But MailChimp or Constant Contact will probably be a little bit easier and cheaper for you to get started. You're welcome. Okay. So then we're just going to grow our email list after we have some good newsletters out. Work on growing your email list through those different strategies I talked about. So that is adding that website pop-up that integrates through your system, adding new customers and new agents to the email list automatically, and then ultimately just rinse and repeat. As you provide more value in these newsletters and make it a big focus, more people are just naturally going to subscribe. Check in it every week or every month and monitor how your list is growing. All right. We still got a lot to cover, so let's get into paid advertising. This one's going to be fun because everybody loves talking about paid advertising. So first off, advertising is not easy. If it was, everyone would be successful and have tons of business and have tons of money, and everybody would be rich and nobody would be in this class. So it's not easy. Costs on advertising platforms increase when more people advertise. So as more people advertise, prices go up. It's like auctions, real-time auctions. Therefore, so to do well on paid advertising, you need to have a strategic advantage over your competitors. Acquisition costs of new real estate agents are high, and large home inspection businesses understand this and are willing to pay for it. So ultimately, to the large inspection companies that do this all the time, it's not about what is my return on investment for that one inspection. It's what is the opportunity to meet a new agent and then to get 3 more inspections out of that agent. And what's the value of that? Okay, so if you're going to look into paid advertising, you need to get really serious about it. Otherwise, you could waste a lot of time and money. The first thing that you could do, Google local service ads. If you're not on Google local service ads, you should be. It's one of the easiest ways to get into paid advertising. This is actually, I'd argue, you could set it up yourself and do decent. There are a bunch of settings and things you could do to improve it, which is kind of like what we do and help improve the return on investment and make sure that it's the best that it can be. But you can do this yourself. After you get that going, just so you know, if you guys don't know, this is what Google local service ads look like. It shows at the top of search results and it shows Google guaranteed. But after you have this going, then I'd recommend getting into Google search ads. So don't do Google search ads until you do Google local service ads, which is the Google guarantee program. Then you can get into Google search, which this is, you need somebody that kind of knows what they're doing. So you can learn it yourself and spend some time with it and get to know it and do it really well. Google search ads instead look like this. So a little bit different, where you actually have to write like your title, which is this blue line, and then the description. And sometimes you can add photos to it as well. And then you have to have a nice landing page too. With Google guaranteed, you don't need a landing page because the only call to action is a phone call or a message. So at a minimum, get into Google local service ads. The return on investment should be good. After you have a good return on investment on that, increase your spend or consider getting into Google search ads. After that, you can start other advertising programs. Bing advertising is a great next step after getting good performance with Google search. But if you don't have good performance with Google search, don't get into Bing. And then Yelp is a great choice if nobody in your area is advertising on Yelp or you have great reviews on Yelp. So look in your local area and see who's advertising on Yelp. If you have really good reviews on Yelp and you kind of outpace your competitors or nobody else is advertising, then it's a great opportunity to get in because, again, it's auction based. So as more people advertise in your local area, prices go up. But if nobody's advertising, prices are going to be low. Finally, with social media ads, I get the question all the time, like, should I do Facebook ads or things like that? Really only get into social media advertising if you've done other avenues. For home inspection companies specifically in this industry, it can be difficult because you can't target consumers. Consumers only know that they need a home inspection when they need a home inspection. And with social media advertising, you're kind of targeting audiences. And it's like when people show an interest to a particular product, like think of like a software or like clothing that you'd purchase from Amazon, you could target with them with ads. But for a home buyer, there's a 7 to 10 day window, if that, for when they need a home inspection and when they're looking for home inspectors. So that means you have to target real estate agents. And with real estate agents, you could target them and that's great, but finding return on investment is going to be difficult because the real estate agents aren't going to have a deal until they actually have a deal. They can't just buy from you like they can with like e-commerce. So do it in that order. Google local service ads. You could do that yourself and be somewhat effective. You can hire a marketing agency like myself and be a little bit more effective with it. And then consider Google search, then consider Bing. Also look at Yelp in your particular area and then get into social media ads. But majority of the times you're going to have enough time and money to spend on the other platforms. You also need to make sure you're tracking ROI of this. So this is a lead center platform that we have with Wolfpack. So you can see how they are actually tracking their quote values and their sales values. So this integrates with Google Ads and Bing and like Yelp and Google local service ads. And it has like a nice little just dashboard so they can see all their leads. And then they put in what they quote and they put in what they actually sold. And then you can actually see the return on investment. If you're doing it yourself with just Google local service ads, you could do it within that platform itself. But if you want to talk about taking it to the next level, that's this. But with any advertising program, you have to make sure you're actually tracking the return on investment and what's going on. So for example, a lot of companies start advertising and then they're like, well, I didn't get my return on investment. And it's because there's some type of breakdown with the actual ad program. So to find out that actual breakdown, it's going to be one of these 6 items. So the first item, this is your click-through rate, or how many people see your ad and then call. So with a click-through rate, you generally want a 5 to 10% click-through rates, meaning of people that see your ad, 5 to 10% click. Or if you're doing Google local service ads, you want a greater than 50% top of impression rate. And that's going to be on your Google local service ads dashboard. If you don't have those metrics, then your ad program is not working well. If you do have those, then you can move on to step 2. Step 2, tracking conversion rates. This is how often people actually call or submit a form entry from the click, from the original click. So for this, you want it like 10%. You get 5 to 10, that's okay. 10% should be your goal. But again, if you only have 1% or 2% conversion rate here, then that's your problem. That's what we need to fix. If people are clicking on your ad, of say 5 to 10% of people are clicking on your ad and then going to your website, but only 1% are converting, you're losing out on a ton of people. And so this is your problem, which needs to be fixed. If you work with a marketing agency, this would be their responsibility. This would be their responsibility. And then we move on to number 3. Number 3 is tracking qualified leads versus unqualified leads. Aim for 80% of leads to be quality. So of the people that click on the ad, of the people then that actually call, how many are actually good leads? A good lead is somebody that is looking for a home inspection and is in your service area. If they're not looking for a home inspection or they're not in your service area, it's a bad lead. So this would be your marketing agency as well if you're working with a marketing agency, or it'd be you if you're doing it yourself. But 80% of your leads should be quality. If it's less than 80%, then there's a problem. Now I know although keep in mind, there's a ton of spam out there. So you can kind of disregard the spam. In general, I just mean in terms of if you got tons of phone calls and people are looking for the city builder or the city building department, or they're looking for a mold inspection when you're only advertising for home inspections, that's what I mean. Not necessarily like spam calls. After you have this is where home inspection companies start to fall off, or people advertising start to fall off, which is tracking qualified leads to sold jobs. Meaning like when somebody calls, how often are you going to convert that person on the phone? You want about 30 to 50% conversion rate, sales conversion rate, meaning every third phone call, at least you are converting. Every third qualified person looking for a home inspection in your service area, you can convert. If it's less than that, you're the problem with answering the phone, or whoever is answering your phone. And then after that, you can start tracking repeat business, referral business after the initial sale, and track total ROI. Your total ROI goal should be 500%. That just means of every dollar you put in, you get $5 out. So if you spend $100, you get a $500 inspection. Any questions on that? I know that was probably like a lot. I think I'm delayed a little bit. I have to sit here for a minute and ask, whoa, that's so cool. I have a bunch of fireworks. I'm going to make confetti again. Nobody's talking, so I need to make myself better. No questions? Man, I must be doing so good. Thanks, Steve. Let me know you're taking notes. Glad you're taking notes. It's just you and me again, Steve. Everyone else is gone. Amy, you're here too. Yay. Yeah, it's a lot to learn. I'm sorry. I wanted to give you guys as much information as I could. Things that you guys could do, but I know that I realize it is a lot of information. John, you thought conversion rate should be higher? Conversion rate from what? From like people who land on your website to then call, or conversion rate from qualified call to an actual sale? Callers to jobs should be closer to 80%. Qualified calls, meaning you're converting 80% of the phone calls that come in. John, if you're able to do that, man, that's amazing. I will say for the majority of people, you're not able to do it. It's generally 30 to 50%. Yes, the goal is to convert every actual client that calls for you. Absolutely. But you got to imagine with paid advertising, these are people that don't know you or trust you, right? If this is a referral business and somebody's calling because they heard about you from their agent, then yeah, you can close 80%, if not more of those. But we're talking about cold leads. We're talking about people that are like, hello, who are you? I need a home inspection, right? I'm calling two other people, by the way. You're at 15. If you're at 59%, that's really good. Specify, John, though, that is that 59% from advertisements, or is that just all calls? Local service ads destroyed your Google ads? I'd want to find out why, BC. Local service ads is one of the top programs right now. John, you should be killing it then, honestly. So hats off to you for getting those metrics in. All right, let's talk about local SEO and Google Business Profiles. So local SEO accounts for around 30% of home inspection business out there. So this importance cannot be understated or overstated. It's important. We're going to go with that. Okay. You need to claim and optimize your listing to appear in local searches and accumulate reviews to bolster your credibility. Again, this is around 30% of the business you can get. So if you're not doing this right, you're missing out on 30% of your business. So first, optimize your Google Business Profile, and that's what this looks like. An example. If you go to Google search, I just looked up Waypoint Property Inspection. This needs to be all filled out. You need to have cool photos like this company does. You need to have Google reviews. You don't need to have 3,000 at 4.9 stars. That's pretty crazy. But everything needs to be filled out here. And you need to make sure you have access. Okay. Then you need to set up some type of review request system. So this is a screenshot of, like, as I mentioned before, we're partners with ActiveCampaign. So we set up review request systems through ActiveCampaign for a lot of home inspection companies. You could do that, or you could work with something like Blip. So Blip does their thing. We do our thing as well, if you do want to do that. Or you could do it yourself, where you just set up like an automation within Spectora or ISN to send an email and a text message out to request a review. If you're going to do it yourself through Spectora ISN, set up an email and text message right after the inspection is completed. So right when you upload the report. And then also do it the next day, the email and text message, same thing. So you're going to do it twice, both through email and text message, once when the report is uploaded, and then the next day. And that's going to optimize the amount of conversions you get. And that's what Waypoint's doing to get 3,000 Google reviews. Now, they do a lot of inspections, but they do this system through us. And we send an email. This is an email and a text message out once the inspection is complete. And then they send it the next day too. Great point, Austin. Keep in mind too that customers may be searching for your company on Google and seeing your competitors' ads if you don't have your own running. So there's a chance, even though that they knew your name, they went somewhere else. Sometimes with ads, you are paying to get people who are already going to work with you, but at least they still choose you because of your ad instead of a competitor. Absolutely. Luke, that is absolutely terrible. I'm so sorry. You can contact Google and show them your business registration stuff, and you should be able to get your owner back. You just have to know what to do, but you can contact Google and show your business information to do that. One thing that I'll mention real quick on Austin talked about advertising for your own keyword. We wrote a blog post. So this is wolfpackadvising.com. We wrote this blog post on how Google's new search generative experience. Oh, not this one. I'm sorry. Not that one. This one. Direct business search. I'm going to take a link of this and post it in the chat. Save this article because this is a new setting in Google local service ads. It looks like this. This talks about how you're advertising for your own brand name. So we'd recommend you leave it on, but some companies may want to turn it off. But this is why it's important to know some of these things, because if you're only advertising for your own brand name, it's super easy to get conversions and your return on investment is going to be super high. And you're going to be like, hey, my returns on investment so high, my calls are converting so well. You're going to be like John, John in the chat, and converting all your calls. And this is why. Luke, they don't have, they do have contact numbers, but it's going to be best to email them. There is ways that you could do it. I can tell, you can just email support@wolfpackadvising.com and we'll point you to the link to submit it to Google. They do have a place where you can chat in with them. John, isn't that like trying to contact God? They do make it a little bit hidden, but you can do it. I promise. Oh, look at Steve coming in clutch. Oh, they're so great. Such a great audience. Another thing that we do, and Blip Reviews does the same thing, is we have this little "how was your experience" thing where they could say great experience or poor experience. And this is a good way to filter out any negative feedback. So you can say, if somebody had a poor experience, it goes to a feedback form that goes to your office, versus great experience, it forwards it to Google. So that's something that we do. You wouldn't be able to set it up on your own unless you're super experienced with technology, obviously, but Blip Reviews does it as well. Steve, be careful with that onboarding specialist. Generally, they just want you to spend more money. So just keep that in mind. But I'm sure they would be able to help you with that. But generally, their goal is to get you to run ads and then spend as much money as possible. Okay, let's talk about networking and partnerships. So 3 things. First, networking groups. These are great to get started, as instead of paying for marketing with dollars, you're paying with your time. So if you're new and you don't have any money, you can pay with your time with doing networking groups. But remember to ensure you're making an ROI for your time. If you're not, just move on from the group. Okay. Too many people are doing networking groups and stuff and not actually tracking what they're getting from it. Sponsoring offices and classes. Same here. These are great to get started. However, get a business card from every agent and keep in touch with these agents with email marketing. Add them to your email list. Find them on social media, and then track and win if they convert. Yes, you could definitely join your local real estate association groups. Absolutely. But make sure, because you're spending money now with your time rather than actual dollars, make sure it's still worth your time. And other events and sponsorships. I'm going to move myself over here. These are great, but you're paying with your time again. Get contact info, add them to your email lists, add them to your social media, stay in contact, and then finally just track if and when they convert. any of these items are going to be great. And the good thing is it's free advertising. You're just paying with your time, but you guys need to make sure you're tracking it. The last thing that would want to happen is you're spending so much time doing all this and you get nothing from it when you could have done local service ads to get phone calls. All right, customer experience and retention. All right. With this, I want to talk about the agent lifecycle for a moment. You can create automations and sequences to follow up with agents at every step of their lifecycle. At a minimum, consider doing an email to really get into the next level, mix in omni-channel marketing and automate it. So to talk about the agent lifecycle, every agent to you is becoming at some point a new buyer's agent or a new listing agent. Then they're going to be a retained agent. Then they're going to be an inactive agent. Then they're going to be a revived agent. So work with you again and be retained again. And then at some point, they're going to go bye-bye and they're going to stop working with you. Okay? That's just the life cycle. Just like us, we're born, we live a life, and we become lost. So the reason why I bring this up is these are perfect times to keep in touch with your contacts or with your agents. So you can build an automated system that does it, such as Wolfpack does it. Again, I'm not pushing anybody to do it or anything like that. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but basically you can do automated touch points for every point in the agent lifecycle. So welcome your new buyers agents. Once you welcome them, you could do it through an email, you can do a phone call, you can do a text message, you can follow them on social media, whatever it is. Then as they continuously work with you, reward them for that. Send an email, send a text message, give a phone call, say thank you, give a $5 Starbucks gift card. Everybody likes coffee. If you don't, you're weird. I'm sorry if that offended anybody. And you can send gift baskets, ask them out to a lunch, anything like that. And then at some point, they're going to stop working with you. So when you're pulling an inactive agent report from your ISN or Spectora, you could do it every 30 days or so. See which agents you haven't worked with in a while, and then follow up with them. Yes, more like $10 nowadays. You can still do $5, but it is more like $10. So every time an agent becomes inactive, you stop working with them, haven't heard from them in a while, do an email, a text message, a social media interaction, a phone call, whatever it is. All you're going to do is just, text them and say, hey, Sam, it's Aaron from Wolfpack. We haven't worked with you in a while. Just want to check in and say, hey, is everything okay? That's it. And then at some point, hopefully they come back and they're retained again. And then you reward them for working with you. You don't have to give them a $5 gift card for every inspection. That's not what I'm saying. But if they do 5 inspections with you, do a nice little reward for that. Ask them out to a coffee or just give them a $5 gift card. Or just call them and say thank you and that you appreciate them. That's it. And then at some point, they're going to be lost. And if they're ever lost, hopefully they're still on your email marketing newsletter that you created. And then maybe they'll come back in the future. But it's okay when agents go bye-bye. It's okay. It happens. These are a bunch of different methods of communication you can use. Communication that you could use. How long out do you consider them lost? Probably anything over 6 months, but keep in mind some agents only do 1 transaction a year, if that. So for inactive agents, I would go either with 30, 60, or 90 days. You could pick one of those 3 items. If it's anything outside of that, you would consider them quote unquote lost. But they should be on your newsletter or anything like that. Hey, look, balloons. So methods of communication, as I talked about previously, you could do email, SMS, phone call, postcards or letters. That's another thing. You can do postcards or letters. You can automate all of this. You can automate gift cards, lunch, coffee, or some personal touch. Slide broadcasting to send an automated voicemail. So it actually doesn't call them. It just leaves a voicemail. And then a personal gift. So like a more specialized, personalized gift. Maybe they like football and you give them like a cool football jersey. Thank you, Austin, for helping out with the chat. I'm going to take this. This has been here forever, so I'm going to take that down. Okay, let's talk about measuring success, and then we're going to segue off. So you need to set clear metrics and KPIs with everything of this, guys. You need to use performance data to refine your marketing strategies continuously. All right. Couple things. You need to track your ROI or analytics by source. If you're not tracking it or looking at it, then it's not improving or working for you. Many marketing strategies fail because businesses owners fail to keep an eye on analytics. Then after 3 months, they just cancel their campaign. Time and time again, do people start advertising, don't keep track of anything, then they all of a sudden look at it and they're like, well, this isn't working. I'm going to cancel it. Well, it's not working because you never looked at it and you never saw how to improve it. With advertising, it could take up to 3 months for you to start getting an effective return on investment, right? So if it's not working in the first month, then you need to find out why and improve it. Just like we talked about earlier, a lot of times it's because, hey, you silly goose, you haven't been answering the phone. Or, hey, when you started answering the phone calls, like, you said this weird thing on the phone. If you just got rid of that, it would help your conversion rates. Or, you work with Wolfpack, for example. After a month, you're like, Aaron, all these leads suck. I'm canceling. Well, no, you tell me the leads suck and then have us allow to make the adjustment and improvement to make it better for you, because it can take up to 3 months. Tracking lead sources. You should be able to accurately view leads and sales sources when conducting marketing campaigns. Asking the customer how they heard about you is not sufficient. Okay? I get this question. It's like, well, I asked them how they heard about me. It's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. You need technology to basically track where they're coming from. Okay? It's good to ask. It's still good to ask. I'm not saying like you can't ask, because that does give you insights. But if you're running like a Google ad campaign, nobody's going to tell you that they heard about you through Google ads. They're going to be like, yeah, I just searched. I found you online. Right? So you need to have some type of system that's knowing that they actually came from a Google ad campaign. Now, luckily, Google local service ads, the Google guaranteed stuff, does it really well within their dashboard. But Google search, Bing, Yelp, none of that does a good job. So you need a separate system, which you could use whatconverts.com for that. Or if you work with an agency or choose somebody to help you with it, ask them about it, because they should be able to point it in your right direction. Same thing with like events, anything like that. I Googled you is now part of our lexicon. I don't know what lexicon means, Steve. I am low IQ when it comes to English. I can only speak computer. But like events or presentations, like nobody's going to say, oh yeah, I heard about you through this presentation or this event. It'll be 3 months down the line, and then the agent refers a client to you because they heard about you through a couple of different events. Oh, thank you so much, Adam. Now that makes... You guys are just making fun of me now. I don't like it. Wow, even Austin privately messaged me and says it means language. Guys, I know digital marketing, not English. Okay? I swear. So just going back to this, make sure you're actually tracking lead sources appropriately, not just asking. Asking does help, but if you're going to run a Google search campaign or you're running SEO, just asking is not going to be sufficient. All right, marketing projections. If your marketing campaign is actually successful, you should be able to use that data to project what it's going to get you in the next 3, 6, 12 months. It should be predictable and scalable. If you can't actually predict how your ads are performing and what you should expect next month, there's no way for you to scale and grow. So you need to pick up some type of campaign, track its metrics, give it 3 to 6 months, look into it every either week or every month, and find ways to improve it. Get it to a spot to where you know it's predictable, and then you can start scaling it and move on and try another one. Can you give an example of how your site actually looks tracking these analytics over a 3-month period, for example? Yes. Austin, do I have your permission to use your lead center? Thank you, Austin. Okay, so I'm going to show real quick. This is Austin's lead center for Waypoint Property Inspection, waypointinspection.com. It uses JavaScript on the website, as well as an integration with Google Ads and Yelp and Bing and all that stuff to track all the different lead sources. And then it separates it out. So you can see we have different tabs. This isn't everything that they're doing, but for example, if you go organic, this is all the stuff that they're getting from organic, basically SEO. Now, this isn't that expensive for most companies. We use, again, it's just what converts. So let me go to whatconverts.com. And if Austin or Jenna, you can link what converts in the chat. You can use this yourselves and integrate it. But if you're going to get started with like anything more than Google local service ads, you need something like this. If you're doing email marketing, your email marketing software should be able to track everything for you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Austin, come talk, please.
Thanks, Aaron. So just going back to the whole part about tracking, one thing I think that's important too is, to Aaron's point, you can't just ask where did they hear about you from, because there could have been multiple touch points, right? Their agent might have recommended you, but then they also saw you online and they also picked up a flyer from their community center, and you're going to get potentially a jumbled answer. So one of the great things about that resource that Aaron just shared, What Converts, whether you sign up for it on your own or whether you get it through Wolfpack as part of like online advertising, is one of the strong features of it is the ability to set up tracking phone numbers. So whenever we're putting out a new marketing campaign, whether it's online or whether it's like a postcard that we're sending out to clients, we will come up with a unique tracking phone number specifically for that campaign so that we can measure what's coming through that. And then it's also very clear where that lead came from. So, I mean, you can see it can get somewhat a bit of a beast in terms of how many phone numbers you have out there, but it just leans back to the point of trying to measure ROI and making sure that what you're spending your marketing dollars on is actually producing a return to continue doing that. So this is just a quick thing I wanted to mention just to highlight the tracking and the source and how you can do both of those things efficiently.
I was muted. Thanks, Austin. I know Jenna just responded to Adam. A common rule of thumb is that companies should spend between 2 to 5% of the revenue on marketing. A lot of companies, it gets even much higher. Companies that are in full growth mode go 20%. I know for a lot of the inspection community groups, like mastermind groups, they generally go between like 10 to 20% because they're in full growth mode. That ratio can be higher when you're just starting out. However, a lot of companies, when they're just starting out, you don't have enough money, right? But when, like, Austin probably can talk on this for Waypoint's end. Yeah, here comes Austin.
I love that I can just add myself whenever I want to. I don't have to ask for your permission, even though I did. Great. I would say yes, for sure. The ratio is higher when you're just starting out, Steve, because you don't have any brand recognition, right? And even if you're a large company, if you're trying to expand into new markets, you're going to run into the same thing as though you were a brand new business, which is what happened to us when we started growing in Orlando. Is we grew there by hiring an inspector, but we had no brand recognition, and we've spent a lot to try and get that brand recognition up so that we have enough business to keep that inspector busy. Whereas in our existing markets, we don't have to spend as much compared to revenue because we already have an established brand. But I think this also ties into there's two different versions of the strategy, right? Is your strategy to go more after acquisition of new agents? So Aaron had mentioned previously some inspection companies, that's their strategy, is they're just going to continue to acquire agents, but not necessarily focus as much on their retention. Or is your strategy going to be focused more on retention? So you'd rather keep that agent for their third, fifth, 10th, 15th inspection versus always going out and seeking new ones. Your marketing budget is almost always going to be more if you're going out to acquire new agents than it is if you're focusing on retaining agents. What becomes tricky though is how active are the agents in your area and how much business can you realistically expect from them, right? In Florida, we have so many real estate agents that you could probably argue have oversaturated the market, that an average agent may only be doing 2 transactions a year. So if your average agent is only doing 2 transactions and your goal is to go after new agents or even retain to a degree, you're going to be spending a lot more because the agents on average are just doing less to give you. But if you focus on those top producers, you may pay a little bit more upfront to get their business to begin with. But then if you continue to build that relationship and you get them and their team, then you're not spending as much to retain them. So yeah, definitely it's going to be more expensive when you're just starting out to build a brand. Even if you're already an established brand in a market, if you go to a new market, it's going to be expensive to grow there. And it's going to be more expensive to acquire new agents than it is to retain the existing agents that you have. And I would say on average, we're spending probably around 12% of our revenue on marketing right now. And that includes our online ads, that includes the payroll of our marketing team, that includes any sponsorships that we're doing. So we're kind of right in the middle of that 10 to 15% number that Aaron mentioned previously.
Thanks, Austin, for coming on board again. Okay. The damn inspections are the easy part. Yeah, a lot of larger companies say they become like sales companies or marketing companies that just do home inspections. Okay, so final slide here, our growth map. We have a Wolfpack growth map that Jenna created on our team, who's in chat. She's a really nice lady. I really like her, partly because she's my wife. I hope she likes me, but let's see. I'm going to link this for you guys here. This talks about the different pieces of how you can go about growth with your individual company. So how you should go about assessing, formulating a plan, engaging prospects, capturing and retaining them, and reassessing and adjusting. So I'd take a look at this, which I did send a link for. And this can help you upon your journey. I know we shared a ton of information with the actual presentation today, but hopefully we've given you tons of ideas. Ultimately, I don't want you guys to just try everything all at once. What's important for me is that you try one thing, whether that's local service ads or whether that's email marketing or whether it's social media. You do that for 3 to 6 months and you keep track of it every week, every month, and you're reassessing and adjusting, you're getting it to work for you. Okay, because it should work. Then after that, you can add another one and slowly go from it. So take your notes, take this entire presentation, pick one thing that you want to do and you want to focus on for the next 3 to 6 months and really dive into it. Or you can, hire somebody to do it for you, whether it's going to be Wolfpack or some other company. For the web design, at least, I would recommend hiring somebody because most inspection companies don't do a good, or most inspectors don't do a good enough job. You can at least, if you're brand new, you could spend like $400 and do it with InterNACHI, I think, or like $200 with InterNACHI. Other than that, hello. This isn't going to the next slide. Other than that, thank you. I'm here for questions. I'm here to chill. So if you guys want to hang around and ask questions, I'm here. Oh, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for being here and being my #1 fan. I loved our conversation. Amy, you're my #2 fan. So thank you for being here and chatting. I'm going to turn on some music just to like kind of chill, but let's go with Feeding the Ducks. Maybe Into Space. Luke, yeah, I can review your website. Team Austin and Jenna, can you get back to like Adam and the other people who have questions? Luke, I'm gonna get to your question here. Reviewing your website, your call to action, request a quote, should be a contrasting color, have like a box around it, and should be the far right one. So I'd recommend doing that. This looks good. I would recommend also if you could show some type of reviews near the top or badge near the top. The InterNachi badge is okay, but I'd also recommend showing something like these ones. If you're using HomeAdvisor, that's great. Maybe HomeAdvisor has a better badge too, but something with your rating, like your Google rating. Adding that to the top would help too. Generally, you're going to want for your top one, you're going to want home inspector in whatever main city. So I know you have try inspection detection, which might be for like, basically what I'm saying with this is I don't know what city or where you're located. So it should be home inspector or inspections in city or metro, like Central Florida, Tampa Bay, Dallas, Texas, New York, Phoenix, wherever you're actually located, I should be able to see that. Adam, do you guys help with, let's say I want to spend 1,000 this month in marketing, and amount should be broken up in which areas, like give levels of importance, if that makes sense? Yes. That's what we do with our consultations. So you can submit a proposal on our website, which is here. Click get a proposal. And then you'll schedule a meeting with me. And that's exactly what we do. We talk about what are you currently working on, and then what recommendations we have based on your budget. How difficult to migrate a large website from Squarespace to WordPress? BC, it's not that difficult, as long as you're working with a reputable agency. But for us, you can't actually migrate it besides the blog posts. Instead, we would just redesign each page within WordPress and just copy the design. So it's a much cheaper way than going about a fresh new design. You basically cut the cost in half, if not more. We're in an awful inventory market in Connecticut. How can we make a difference? John, that's a tough question. And I think a lot of home inspection companies are feeling that. Really, it just comes down to ancillaries, pre-listings. If you could do, like in Florida, they have like a lot of mold. If you could do radon, standalone radon, or like insurance inspections. Like in Florida, you have wind mitigations and 4-point inspections. I'm not sure if you have something like that in Connecticut, but a lot of larger home inspection companies learn they need to diversify besides just like the home inspection transactions. Question, I just started out and I have no reviews on Google. Can I start the process for Google Guarantee Program? Yes, you can. I believe you can. You might need a minimum of 5. Honestly, for the 5, don't tell anybody I said this, but you could just ask your friends and family to review you and do it enough to get the 5. And then after that, then get some real ones, because the other 5 that you had your friends and family review will go away. BC, I will look at yours. Yeah, if you link it, foreverhomeinspection.com. Okay, so definitely need a header. You need a header up here. So all this information should be a header. On the left-hand side, I should see home inspectors. You have Tulsa home inspectors, which is perfect. And then I would want a description. So you have this. I'd want to see that description on the left-hand side here with the right-hand side nice background image. Maybe possibly on the right-hand side, either doing another image or doing that quote form. Oh, here's your homepage. So it's /home. So if that's not your homepage, then this link should be that. This is good. You have this. I would make this white, this full white instead of hollow, but that looks good. This text should say who you are. So I would instead say Tulsa's preferred inspection team up here. and then put this text here. They know it's Forever Home Inspection because it's in your logo and it's also in the URL. So you don't need this here. And then you could leave this here, honestly, but this looks good. I mean, you could pick apart this section, but honestly, I wouldn't be too. This isn't bad. So you're almost of the way there. And put this badge right at the top. So take that Google badge and that rating in here. All right, let's look at home quest inspection. John, this is where you're converting every call. Harry, I don't mind roasting you at all. Oh, you mean the website. Harry, if you want, you can come on the webinar too, and then I'll roast just you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Harry. I would never do that. All right, John, for your site. Oh, real quick, Jenna wants me to mention advising. If you guys just want general advising services, we offer that. It's the end of the webinar, so I can sell. That's the rule. But if you want general advising stuff, we can do that. We just do an hourly rate for it. I think it's like $150 an hour. So you'll schedule like a meeting for an hour for us, and during that $150 session, we'll do it. John, your website looks really good. Honestly, it might look a little bit crowded. But you have clear call to actions. It does look a little bit crowded, like here. I don't know where you're from instantly, though. I see this, but I'd want to see a main metro. So I would have that somewhere. This is good, but I might do home inspectors in your main metro here. And then maybe change this to home quest home inspection. But you really don't need it, again, because your logo's here. And it's at the page title. So if actually, you can't see it, but the page title, the tab, shows home quest inspection, home or Shelton, Connecticut home inspection. I would change that to do Shelton, Connecticut home inspection, then the bar, then your brand name. So do that first. I think, let me see if I could take a screenshot of it. No, I can't. I'm sorry. But this page, honestly, it looks good. It's a little bit crowded. I would classify this as a good website, though. Yeah, I think, and look at it. I can tell you're doing SEO. I would work on these pages, though. This is way too wordy. I'd make it closer to your home page to where it has more design features. So if you look like at Waypoint and you go to Austin, where'd you put your here? So if you go to Clearwater, here's a SEO landing page where they do home inspection Clearwater, Florida to target that. You can see again how very clear. Home inspection Clearwater, Florida, nice subtitle, call to action, rating. All right. Let's, Harry, we're going to roast yours. Palmetto Pro Home. Harry, same things. Your logo is right here, man. You don't need it again. Come on, Harry. Harry, you have thick skin. Harry, if you have thick skin, you should be ready for this. Okay, you get rid of the logo. I don't know where you're located. Is that Palmetto? Is that a city or a metro? Yeah, I don't know where you're located. I don't know what you do or anything like that. South Carolina. Yeah, I don't know that. Your website doesn't tell me. So I need home inspections in South Carolina somewhere up here. And then need to have like this underneath that. That's great. And then you need a call to action underneath it and some type of rating system to show trust and credibility, or that's a Google rating. The schedule your home inspection, when I hover it, I can't see it anymore. And this should be on the far right-hand side. You also have book online and schedule your home inspection now, which is the same. So you could remove book online to keep it more concise. You got testimonials on there, contact us, that's good. I would try and get like a badge to show your rating and the number of reviews you have and throw it up here at the top. All right, Ben, you're up next. And Ben, you're going to be the last one for these websites. I'll answer other questions though. Schedule goes to the phone, book online gets to the Spectora. Okay, so I would instead, Harry, I would put your phone number at the header. So change book online or change schedule your inspection now. Like put it the phone number. I don't know that it's the phone number. And then schedule your inspection. You could put schedule now. So, and then I would put your phone number here, and then further right, I would put schedule now. And both of it need to be bigger boxes and better contrasting colors. And as Jenna mentioned, the text needs to be larger too. Okay. Let's go to Ben. Last one. And we'll still answer questions, but this is the last site we're going to review. Ben, I love your site. Looks good. Metro Detroit. I might make this a little bit bigger. You could probably get rid of this or move this instead and replace this with that. Schedule now. That looks good. My services, this button should be replaced with like a review widget or your rating to establish trust and credibility. There's a big empty space here, Ben. Yeah, sure, Amy. Just email me. And I'll take a look at it. Your service area section, it looks like service areas needs to be moved here and that block needs to be gone, Ben. Other than that, it looks bad, or it doesn't look bad. It looks decent. So I would definitely look at changing my services with the review widget, and then probably just take this and put this here. I might even put Metro Detroit, Michigan in this first section. So experienced home inspectors, putting clients first in Metro Detroit or Detroit, Michigan, and then say your trusted certified inspector for your next home inspection. Also, your page title, if you look into it, it's Home Inspection Bar Sterling Heights, Michigan Bar Williams Inspections LLC. You could just put Home Inspector Detroit, Michigan Bar Williams Inspections. Bye, John. All right, y'all. I'm going to be here for the next 2 minutes answering any quick questions. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys. For the rest of the 60% that never showed, you guys are better. If you're watching the recording and you didn't show because you were busy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. But thank you. And if you guys have any quick questions, we'll be here to answer it. Otherwise, we're going to be heading out here in a few minutes. Thank you, Amy. This music's not great. So no other questions? Thanks for attending, ChatGPT bots. Yes, the rest of the 16 of you are ChatGPT bots. Thank you for being here. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know you guys are real people. You're just quiet. Where's my tie, mate? What do you mean my tie? Thanks, Jose. Thanks for being here. All right, y'all. It's been 2 hours, so I'm headed off now. Thank you all for being here. Let's see if I can get confetti. Woo! Thank you all for being here. Congratulations. You made it to the end. I'll see you guys on another webinar. We'll do another one sometime. But thank you all.